Hi, my name is John Morton. I am creator, writer, and contributor to Ninth Space Calvary, a series of screenplays we are hoping you pick up for production. I'm here to talk to you today about 4 minor characters. 2 which are new to the Ninth Space Calvary play. They were not in the Cirrus Affair. They were not in the Great Space Lift. We are introduced to one in episode 1, and we are introduced to the other in episode 2. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch of getting new people in. Let's start with one who was in a Cirrus Affair and comes in a Cirrus Affair in the last act. That is Captain Lance Burton. Captain Lance, she is a captain of a frigate called the Dalat, a Muslim. We liked her a lot. We brought her back in the Great Space Lift to expand upon her character. We find in that play she has a husband who is a freighter captain. Both are devout Muslims in this sort of a modern space era. We felt it was important to get every kind of person in and to make everybody equal. So to make Muslims equal to Christian, to make women equal to men, nobody embodies that any more than Lance Burton. She is also one of the more stronger-minded people of the play. So a lot of time when she comes in, she asserts both a wisdom, a kind of Gaina, to the whole process, as well as levity. Unlike a lot of women in that day, which would follow the very modern ideal that women don't need to wear headscarves, they don't need to be escorted by a man, Lance kind of is the regressive to that. We'll find her a lot of times. She is wearing the headscarf when she's not on duty. She's wearing a full dress when she's not on duty. When she travels with an escort. And we find that her husband is very chastising of her for why you do this, you don't need to do this, this is not who we are anymore. So we kind of have this duality in her relationship of being the very traditional Muslim woman in a very modern space society. The second character I want to talk to you about is Captain Tyson Miller. This is one of our new captains. We didn't see him in a Cirrus Affair, although he might have been there. We didn't see him in the Great Space Lift, although equally he could have been there. He is the captain of the ECDF Roosevelt. This is a frigate that's called a missile frigate. Specifically is designed to carry missile warheads for broadsiding larger capital vessels in a fleet battle. The Roosevelt is one of 3 missile frigates that's tied to the Ninth Space Calvary. It also has the reputation of being the party ship. That is, it's a large fraternity, sorority mix that's on constant party mode. So, of course, who's going to pilot the Roosevelt but a man that we brought in a Cirrus Affair? His name is Kelso, Ensign Kelso. He's almost 30 years old and he's still an ensign. Why? Because he likes to party. Where do they finally throw him? The Roosevelt. So these two characters are brought in episode 1. Largely one because I wanted to bring Kelso back. I felt bad that after Act 1 of A Serious Affair, he kind of disappeared off the scene. He's got this major role of being the one of the Brat Pack, and yet, poof, he's gone. He doesn't really make another appearance. So bringing him back was important to me. Having him the helmsman on the Roosevelt kind of legitimizes the Roosevelt's role of being the party ship. But it also was because it became a plot device for Captain Miller that there's a thing called workplace politics. And it's an important subject to think about sometimes, of workplace politics and how that can kind of play out. How does that affect workplace morale? And Tyson Miller, although a minor character, embodies that. That is, Captain Tyson Miller is this sort of guy who uses his staff as pawns in his game. Here comes Admiral Bannon. He doesn't know much about him, hasn't served with them. He's a new admiral. Ensign Kelso, you've served with him before. He was your teacher at the academy. What do you know about Admiral Bannon? This is the question that launches Captain Tyson Miller's power bed in the play. What does he want? He wants to get off the Roosevelt. He hates it. He doesn't like the party ship. He doesn't like to be the captain of the party ship. He doesn't even like to be called a partier. At the same point, it's the only way he can keep his ship functioning, which is the worst ship of the fleet. Decimation couldn't save this ship. It's cut down to the bare bones and staff. It can't get cut any further without ceasing to function. If the ship ceases to function, Captain Miller's career is over. So really, he is the politic player, the workplace politic player in our fleet. Kelso, again, comes back as kind of in a different role. He is, in a way, he's the white angel sitting on the shoulder of Captain Rachel Quarnos, his good friend. He's peacemaker. He's he's that guy at the bar that when people start to fight, he says, "Why do you want to fight? Let me get you both a drink. Let's make up. Let's go chase the women." That's Kelso. In all intents and purposes, he was based as a minor character in large part to a Kelso from the Battle of Midway, which was a movie in the 1970s. Just the sort of like really laissez-faire guy who just wanted to kill Japs. Well, all Kelso wants to do is kill. Not even kill. All Kelso wants to do is fly frigates. That's it. He wants to be the best helmsman of a frigate ever. And the company he keeps, you can see this. Captain Paul Michel, arguably for our series, one of the best bomber pilots ever. Commandant Erwin Paulette holds a lot of the Raptor pilot records. He also, ironically, holds transport pilot records because before he was a Raptor pilot, he was a transport pilot. Not that we need to get into that now. Rachel Quarnos, of course, Erwin's counterpart in the whole affair, someone who may one day aspire to that type of greatness. Race Bannon, who in his own right has his own unique recorded history, so was really just the advisory instructor to this foursome in the academy, and became good friends with them, and that's how he got the Brat Pack of 9th Space Calvary. So Brat Pack's back together. Kelso largely plays peacemaker. He is the lowest rank out of all of them, due in large part to his personality and his party spirit. But hey, the last one is a guy who comes into episode 2. We've since moved this guy from being a minor to somewhere between a minor and a major character. His name is Quirky Adams. Captain John Quirky Adams, who becomes captain of the Polaris. The Polaris is an interesting ship in the sense that it is, ideally, it's a freighter turned warship. It was Captain Adams' ship in the past. He was a civilian captain, not a military one. This is an important distinction. Who decided he was going to do something smart. He was going to take his ship into Argos, prove that they were committing acts of aggression against Earth core, and get out. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. He got captured by Admiral Lloyd. He was imprisoned by Argos. Now that they need that type of thing, guess who's getting out of prison? So Captain Adams kind of comes in. It's we need you for this one mission, and you're gone. That's the plot device that got him in. This is a guy who's very mathematical. He's very calculated. He kind of comes standoffish, sort of snobbish. He's a loner. He's a lone wolf. He's a renegade, for all intents and purposes, which 9th Space Calvary going up against any one of the cartel's needs. Any one of the cartel fleets itself is as big as Earth Core Defense Fleet 1, which is about 1/10 of the entire Earth Core Navy, which is one of the smallest governments of space. And therefore, having this small little tiny unit going up against something that's as big as what the unit's assigned to, you need somebody who can think out of the box, who can help with tactics, and who every once in a while just provides that bit of inspiration. Quirky becomes very, very good friends with our Commandant Palat. Irwin, being former Raptor pilot, now Commandant to the Academy's Transport Student Division, who is in 9th Space Calvary, is sort of as an advisory role, although he's another one that starts out as an advisor and becomes very hands-on. We get this kind of complexity with Quirky Adams that you don't get anywhere else. And in fact, he is very quirky. He is very superstitious. He has a lot of faux pas. He doesn't like what they've done to his ship, and is constantly threatening to change it back. At one point, he actually says that they have messed with the harmonics of the ship, and now not even the engines run right. So he's that sort of, just eccentric spirit that everybody loves. He's that uncle in the attic that nobody talks about. And that's why we love him. We threw him in there. We didn't know if it would hit off. Still not certain about him. But like with Commandant Palat, we have an exit strategy for him, which we don't need to go into now. So there you have it. There's 4 minor characters that deserve mentioning, and we hope you do pick up our screenplay. We thank you in advance for your time.